Hello, Hateless Gaming here, bringing you another video. This one's geared more towards the person that's thinking about playing Eve or has just started playing Eve and is wondering uh, financially whether it's a good game to play or not, whether or not you can play it for free, whether or not grinding for Omega is worth it, and all of that fun jazz. So there's a bit of math in this video, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple. As people like to ask, can I play this game for free, or is this something that I just can't do for free? Is it feasible to play for free? Will I enjoy the game if I don't put money into it? Can I play it for free? Is really the big question of the video. And in my experience, you absolutely can play the game without putting a single penny into it. However, it takes a lot of effort to do so. And for one that myself, I enjoy the grind. I enjoy working for the ISK that I earn and making ISK. So therefore, free to play for me makes total sense. And then on the flip side of the coin, if you solely enjoy PvP or only want a PvP, unless you get really good at it, you're probably not going to make enough ISK to pay for your Omega time. So you may want to consider subscribing to the game. And I'm going to kind of explain how the EVE Online pay-to-play and free-to-play model work. Let's start with the most basic thing. You have an in-game item called Plex. Here's my account. This is Hateless. He is my character that, since I am an EVE Online partner, CCP actually pays for this account. Full disclosure, by the way, but this account is paid for by CCP, so I don't have to worry about it. They also give me a chunk of Plex at the beginning of each month, which for some reason is not on this character right now. I probably used it. Anyways, you get these things called Plex. And if you hit buy Plex, may open up a browser. I hit it twice. And if I sign in here, I'm just going to sign into my account real quick. All right. So if I show you guys my monitor here, which I believe I'm doing right. If I show you guys my monitor here, this is where you can buy Plex. If somebody has a lot of real life money and not a lot of EVE Online money, the idea is that you can buy Plex and sell it for ISK. This is the only way that is allowed to buy ISK and EVE Online is through this Plex market. There's one third-party website that I know of that is okay, and that is Mirkey Dragon's website where he sells, Plex packs and bundles. And he's partnered with CCP to do all that. Anyways, it starts at like $4.99 and goes all the way up to some absurd, $500. And people do buy these. You'd be surprised how many people buy them. But you can get Plex for cash. And then you can also get your game time and packs for cash as well. So do you want to start with a starter pack for $6.99? I really don't recommend these unless you for some reason feel like they're good. But as a free-to-play player, I generally don't purchase these. Omega is probably what a new player is going to be interested in. So on average, in Omega is about $15 a month, or for 3 months, about $40. So you save a few bucks going for multiple months at a time, and occasionally that 12-month one goes on sale for 10% off, and it ends up being like 115 per. I'm currently subbed on 12 months for all of my accounts. For 6 of my 8 accounts have a 12-month subscription on them, and they're going to expire in about a month and a half. So this is actually something that I'm contemplating. Do I want to resubscribe again, or do I not want to resubscribe and pay for the game, pay for things with in-game money? There are pros and cons to it, and I've done it both ways. I played this game completely for free in the past, and I'm thinking about going free to play again. However, I have assistance from CCP because I'm a EVE partner. So those are your options. You can pay with cash for this amount of money, or you can pay with 500 Plex. Now, if you don't have in real life money, which is super common, some of you guys are teenagers, some of you guys are, you're looking for a good free to play game. You may have the money, you just don't want to spend it. That's another reality that people live in. So Acquiring Plex is really simple. You just go to the market, and you can buy it with some ISK. And so it's in Pilot Services Plex. They granulized them and made them individual items. So you'd sort by the cheapest, and you'd buy 500. So for me to play the game for a month, it is 1.3 billion ISK. That sounds like a lot, and then it's not a lot when you think about it. So this gives you 30 days of Omega. What Omega does is it gives you skill points, and it allows you access to more ships than Alpha. At 5 million skill points is the crossover of when the daily Alpha injectors and Plex flip which one is more valuable. Up to 5 million skill points for your first like month or two in EVE Online, buying the daily Alpha injectors is cheaper ISK per skill point, but once you hit that 5 million skill point mark, your character stops training unless you're Omega. So going Omega is the best way to acquire skill points after 5 million skill points, mathematically speaking. I'm not going to break down the exacts of that, but 5 million is where it flips. And I believe that at that point, Plex becomes twice, or Omega in your account becomes twice as effective as going daily Alpha injectors. And they're fairly close before that. It just Alpha injectors kind of eke forward as a better option. Anyways, 1.32 or 1325, 100 million ISK is what you need. It sounds like a lot. 30 days is also quite a bit of time. So what this actually means is in order to maintain your Omega account, you need to profit this much per month, or make at least this much per month. Now you're going to say, but that's a hell of a grind. 1.3 billion ISK is a lot when you're making 50 million ISK an hour. That could easily turn into, 26 hours, 26, 27 hours, very easily. Yes, that's a lot of time to grind if you're only making 50 million ISK an hour. However, if we figure out how much ISK per day that we need to grab, so 1, 3, 2, 5, and we'll divide this by 30, means that we need to grind a total of 44 million ISK an hour. Now, what that means is you can log in for an hour and earn 50 million ISK, rinse and repeat, and you can get Omega, every month. If you have something that makes 50 million ISK an hour and you play it for an hour a day, or, some days you play 2 hours, some days you play 3 hours, or, you get a fancy kill that's, 100 million ISK every other day, would be enough to cover this, assuming you didn't consistently lose ships. So as far as affordability in game money, I feel like it's fairly affordable to be a free-to-play player. And then if you get into incomes around like the 200 million ISK an hour mark, which is really difficult to do as an alpha. You're probably not going to make that much as an alpha character, especially as a new player that doesn't have knowledge. But saying 50 to 100 million ISK an hour is super reasonable and something that anybody can achieve doing something like Abyss or consistently mining with. I guess you need multiple accounts to mine that much an hour as a not Omega. But basically what this boils down to is literally 44 million ISK a day is what you need in order to Omega your accounts. And for a brand new player, that seems daunting, and getting to a point where you can make that much actually takes 40 to 50 hours. In previous experiments that I've done, I have a 0-2 hero series, and I kind of started one, and I didn't finish it on YouTube, and I kind of feel bad about that. I'll probably make another one soon. But in my 0 to hero series, it took me roughly, I want to say 2 months, playing about 40 hours a month, give or take, to get the character to a point where it can make 50 million ISK an hour. But it also got its first Omega in that 2 months too. So I think I capped it at 40 hours a month, and it took me 2 months to get it to a point where it could reasonably Omega its account. It was making about 50 million ISK an hour, and I call that pretty reasonable. And that's with buying daily injectors, buying the ships that I need to get up. It does take a lot of effort to get to a point that's free to play. And then there's, of course, the option that I recommend the most, which is use an invite code, play the game for free up to 5 million skill points, and then subscribe for 3 months, build yourself up to a point where you have a solid income, and then go to a free-to-play model after that. Is my most highly recommended way of subscribing to the game and getting to a state where you're free to play. As I know that's weird to say, hey, you should, Omega, but the amount of time that you'll spend in that the first 3 months, first 3 to 6 months in EVE Online is where you spend most of your time learning how to do things and learning the fundamentals of the game. And most of that is spent in alpha, and then you kind of go omega, and then you can kind of do things. You can earn omega as an alpha. And I do want to point out a couple key differences between alpha and omega. Alphas are able to fly all the way up to tier 1 battleships, including the faction battleships. So you can theoretically get into a Vindicator and join, for example, an incursion fleet, make 200 plus million SK an hour as an alpha. In theory, it's a little bit harder than that because the ship itself is worth more than going omega, right? Um, but there's a lot of choices you have as an omega. You're not allowed to run level 4 missions. You can run up to level 3. You are allowed to fly anything that's not Tech 2. So you're not allowed to use Tech 2 ships as an alpha. But you're allowed to use up to Tech 2 medium weapons. So cruisers and battlecruiser weapons can be Tech 2. And then large weapons are locked behind Omega for being... You have to be Omega to get Tech 2 large. But that's kind of reasonable. And then your certain modules and items you're not allowed to use as an alpha as well, and for reasonable reason. Also, as an alpha, you're only allowed to have one account open. And if you have more than one account open as an alpha, it's technically against the EULA, which means that you can get in trouble and therefore get banned for running more than one alpha account. And then to multi-box, you need all your accounts to be Omega. And that's why I have 6 accounts that I have paid for, and then 2 accounts are what I've grown with in the past 2 years. So I've grown up to 8 accounts in the last year. And I plexed the 2 extras. And before I was plexing all 6. Now CCP pays for the equivalent of 2. So they add Omega time 1500 plex to my account every 3 months since I'm an EVE partner. Again, full disclosure, that's what they offer me as being an EVE partner to help me make content. I got my core accounts paid for, and I can optionally do the others. Yeah, that's what I got, guys. I'd like to see you guys discuss in the comments. Perhaps whether you guys think the free-to-play... Ooh, I forgot one really important thing. I almost said bye without talking about one really important thing. There's something called skill extracting or skill point farming, and it will not make your account profitable, but it will make your account much easier to run. So if you get your character above 5 billion skill points and you train a long skill, for example, if we went skills and decided to train Caldari Battlecruiser, and then at the end of the month I extracted Caldari Battlecruiser, or maybe a Mar Battleship every month, and so I extract and train the skill every month, I can offset that by the difference that it is paying for Plex minus the profit of each skill injector that I make. Ends up making an account super cheap to operate. So if you have a fully skilled account that does whatever tasks that you want to, you can extract skills and then offset the cost of operating that account significantly. And that allows you to scale up to many accounts very rapidly if you do that. However, your characters will not grow while you're doing that to offset your costs. So that is one thing that free-to-play players do, is they will make many accounts, or when they make many accounts, they do skill extraction to offset the costs. Is it something that I recommend? Not really, because I recommend that people are always growing and learning new things. And I personally have my characters climbing in skill points as often as possible, and I very rarely extract skills. But it is something that you can do, and scaling up to many accounts via skill extraction is a thing if you're looking to multi-box and free-to-play. There are ways to do it. There's always ways to play this game for free. However, it takes additional effort over paying, and on average that effort is not in line with the real world costs of, say, buying Plex or actually, paying for your subs. I feel like it's in a good place overall. And somebody that decides to wallet warrior this game is not going to be a happy camper, because they're going to lose their stuff and just throwing money down the drain effectively. But somebody that wants to pay for their Omega time to have that extra 1.3 billion ISK a month in their in their budget or their monthly budget for playing the game. Maybe you have a routine where you farm Abyss until your friends log in and you go PvP. You know, maybe you build up some routine. As long as your routine has some kind of balance where you end up 1.3 billion-isk profit every month, you'll end up being able to make your account no problem. And getting to that point is not as hard as one would think. And that's kind of the gist of this video. Anyways, guys, do discuss in the comments below. Fly fun and enjoy your time. And I will see you guys in the next one.